Thanks for tuning in to another installment of Advanced TV Herstory, a podcast that studies, analyzes, and celebrates women's roles throughout the history of television. Among thousands of comedies and dramas that have aired, strong women characters are still in short supply and hold valuable lessons for all of us. In some cases, good shows or characters of today can be traced to an influence that aired 20, 30, even 40 years ago. With an eye to aligning the leadership lesson, time capsule observation, or some fascinating backstory of a show's success or failure, my goal of Advanced TV Herstory is to connect the treasures of the past to the great potential of today's TV and online productions. Theme songs that prompt a smile, characters that make you want to stand a little taller, shows that defy social norms or expectations of how good women should behave. It's all here in Advanced TV Herstory. I'm your host, Cynthia Bemis Abrams. TV Herstory is filled with workplace shows that depict women characters at their smart, competent best. The Mary Tyler Moore Show is the first to come to mind. But in reality, the show is Mary's personal life, blended with her role as associate producer at WJM News. At work, Mary is definitely part of an ensemble cast. For women characters to stand out in ensemble shows, they need to hit a very high mark. Is she a leader or perhaps the title character? Does the actress bring a knockout resume or Hollywood credibility that provides those behind the camera the confidence that golden performances will follow? For 2 seasons, from 1998 to 2000, an early Aaron Sorkin show, Sports Night, was a primetime highlight, an intelligent, well-written, occasionally preachy comedy intended as quality TV. It is a show conceived and largely written and produced by men, mostly about men, and the sports they cover for a nightly cable sports show, also titled Sports Night. But it has an important place in TV herstory worth exploring. 3 characters who represent the minority of Sports Night's staff and audience, reveal a 3-part mentor-mentee relationship that's unparalleled in TV. In this installment of Advanced TV Herstory, we're going to look at special workplace relationships of Isaac Jaffe, Dana Whitaker, and Natalie Hurley. I'll provide enough background so you'll appreciate the full lesson, even if you've never seen a single episode. Sure, we hear a lot about mentoring from our employers and our professional associations and from the news. And in her book, Lean In, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg goes to great lengths to qualify her definition of the mentor-mentee commitment and the high bar she sets for young people seeking her wisdom and a relationship with her. Mentees want mentors so they can gain an edge and learn more. Busy in their own jobs, mentors are not so quick to jump into any extra commitment, the benefits of which are likely intangible. So while we look at how these 3 characters managed through 45 episodes that included numerous scrapes, corporate challenges, and personal dramas, Isaac, Dana, and Natalie, a truly unique trio in TV herstory, capably demonstrate what we know today to be best practices of regular employees who work for regular companies that are a bit less high profile than Facebook. So number 1, first, a bit of background about these characters and the show. Then we'll explore the basic tenets of mentor-mentee programs, like what they're supposed to achieve and why they're important, how they align with the experience we have watching Sports Night. Finally, with those standards in mind, we'll look at how our Sports Night trio showed this in ways otherwise not seen among women in a workplace comedy. Sports Night's short life makes it a time capsule show like few others. Its most obvious date stamp, perhaps the B-roll footage prominently featuring the Twin Towers at dusk. It was off the air well before September 11th, 2001. 1998 depicted the high energy of technological and entertainment thinking that led to the dot-com bubble, which eventually burst in the early 2000s. It's hard not to notice the internet and cell phones with antennas are a novelty in many episodes among this workplace. Sports Night, the fictional show, was just 3 years old. the nightly sports highlight show sitting third in the ratings behind similar shows on established networks ESPN and Fox. All the main characters seem to have been hired at the show's beginning, so we know that the core team was built somewhat by invitation. But none of them are satisfied with third place.
I don't think I need a civics lesson from you, Casey.
Well, I think you need one from somebody, Dana, because you're doing a big thing badly.
I'm aware of the moral questions posed by this, but I'm also aware of the fact that this is a third-place show that doesn't deserve to be. But I can't educate viewers to that fact unless they're watching us in the first place. So, your pedantic scolding aside, I'll do anything short of a wet t-shirt contest to get us there. And these days, the wet t-shirt contest isn't looking so bad to me. You see what I'm saying?
Isaac Jaffe, played by the incomparable and accomplished Robert Guillaume, is the show's leader, its managing editor. Isaac brings a 40-year career in reporting in print and TV and was brought in to build the show. He's almost 30 years older than Dana, which makes him part of the traditionals generation. He's lived through all the advancements in technology that comprise today's newsroom and maintains high ethics and journalistic integrity. Over the 2 seasons, viewers grow to appreciate Isaac's wisdom, his confidence in taking a stand on the right issue, and the role he plays in helping the staff work through personal issues during their long, unpredictable, stressful days.
Yes, they all said that Jeremy Goodwin was a bright guy with a world-class understanding of popular sports, but that he didn't quite fit in, and there was little chance that he'd advance in their organization.
Due respect, Mr. Jaffe, but I have $80,000 in college loans to pay back. My instincts told me to shut the hell up and do what I was told.
Your instincts were wrong.
Not fitting in is how qualified people lose jobs.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, it's how they end up working here.
During the show's real run, actor Robert Guillaume suffered a mild stroke. Sorkin wrote that event for Isaac into the story arc, and it became a turning point for the self-absorbed characters who were forced to grow up a bit. In returning to the show with mild impairment, Guillaume became a national voice for stroke awareness. Portrayed by actress Felicity Huffman, Dana Whitaker, the fictional show's producer, filled the role as interim leader when it wasn't clear Isaac would return to work. Dana entered a period of growth and stress. Funny how those two usually go hand in hand. From this breakout role, Huffman went on to become a desperate housewife. As executive producer, Dana Whitaker is responsible for day-to-day operations, with workdays starting at about noon and ending long after midnight. She's 33 years old and has a master's degree in broadcast production. Her vast sports knowledge comes from being raised in a family with 6 brothers, one of whom now plays pro football. Dana Whitaker is competitive and likely among the first women in her extended family to be living a professional life. She recounts her hiring at Sports Night as Isaac taking a chance on her and consistently works hard to not only meet Isaac's expectations, but also her own. In modeling these standards, she keeps the crew pointed toward excellence. Dana is so committed to her job and its intensity that she sabotages a relationship with Gordon and denies herself one with Casey. Despite this, she intimates at one point that she fears never getting married. She doesn't have much contact with her family in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and worries that she cannot live up to her mother's expectations of cooking a first big Thanksgiving meal when her family plans a visit to Manhattan.
Thanksgiving of Mom's disapproval. Included on the 2-record set are the hit songs Why Aren't You Married? And Sports is No Place for an Educated Woman, and Didn't anyone ever tell you how to cook a turkey?
On the turkey front, she may have a reasonable point.
Dana is a complex, competitive woman who represents the tail end of the baby boom. She knows firsthand the mechanics of the industry, dictates precise orders, changes plans on the fly, and tries hard to maintain her professionalism. Though it's never really articulated or formalized, Natalie Hurley, played by Sabrina Lloyd, age 27, is Dana Whitaker's mentee. This relationship is at a different career stage than the mentor-mentee connection that Isaac and Dana share, but together they represent advancement toward next goals and opportunities that furthers one's career. Natalie has been hired as Sports Night's senior associate producer. She manages a few direct reports, and each taping of Sports Night, she's in the control room next to Dana, highly capable in handling her responsibilities and taking on more as Dana directs them. Natalie is smart and talented. She's hardworking and direct. As a Gen Xer, that directness is partly the desire to get the job done, so she can have a life outside of work. What she sees in Dana is perhaps an imbalance in her work-life experience. So in the first episode, she interviews and hires Jeremy as an associate producer. Their romantic relationship lasts through most of the show's run and provides challenges and lessons for personal growth that Natalie otherwise isn't getting from work. As a graduate of the prestigious Northwestern University journalism program, Natalie tries in one episode to guide her career toward being on-camera talent. After being told she's not ready for that yet, she continues to garner high marks in her current role. And at the start of season 2, we learn that Natalie was offered an on-camera job in Galveston, Texas, but turned it down in part out of consideration for her relationship with Jeremy. Talented? Marketable? Yes. Conflicted about work-life balance? Absolutely. And when there's handwriting on the wall that the show may be canceled, Natalie applies for a studio producer position with Saturday Night Live. She nails the interview and declines a job offer that includes more pay. It actually seems a bit out of character that Natalie wouldn't have jumped at that job. If I recall, Saturday Night Live in 2000 was finally on the upswing, as Tina Fey was not only writing, but also doing sketch work. But in the face of a job transition, Jeremy's supportive words and Natalie's response demonstrate a strong, trusting relationship. And from this, Natalie feels compelled to weigh her own ambition with the sacrifices necessary to build a life with Jeremy. No doubt, Natalie loves her job, and Dana loves her job, and Isaac treasures every day in his role, which he views with an eye to all the history he's lived and that which he'll never see unfold. So ask someone the question, what was the best part about your best job? And you should get the word people in the answer. And while the workplace is filled with formal and informal relationships, the special connection between a mentor and mentee can be life-changing. Yes, it is more work as a mentor to take someone under your wing, but most who commit to that effort will say that they receive as much, if not more, than they give. These relationships are about personal growth. A mentor guides, trains, advises, and promotes the career development of her mentee. Though this can take place within an organization, within a field, or even among people who have nothing professional in common but are willing to work through growth. In selecting a mentee, a mentor generally looks for someone whose values and performance standards align with her own. From there, as advisor, a mentor may present challenges to spur growth or mastery, may coach so as to improve problem solving and strategic visioning, which is important for moving up the ladder. And others may serve as a promoter of the up-and-comer, opening up her network as an extension of her own confidence in her mentee. Along the way, a mentor looks for teachable moments in important growth areas of role modeling, ethics, interpersonal skills, and boundaries. And really, these are presented each week in each episode of Sports Night. Sports Night relationships are not so much a part of a formal program as they are apprenticing. There was no application or selection process that brought each pair together. But in knowing the learning curve and the amount of hard work that would be necessary to build a successful show on a new network, Isaac hired Dana, and Dana hired Natalie, and the potential for success began.
We got him! We got him! We got him! Christian Patrick right here in our studio.
It's not remote?
In our studio tomorrow night at 11. You know who ESPN's got?
No.
I don't either, but it's not Christian Patrick.
We gotta promote the hell out of this, Isaac.
I know.
I mean, you gotta get on the phone with promotions
I will.
now. Get them out of bed. It's moving day.
It's a big day.
I mean, this is a coup, Isaac. We need it promoted.
What, do I look like I just sailed in from Minsk-Kapinsk?
No, you don't. But you gotta stop using Yiddish expressions.
They work for me.
Not as much as you think.
It's impossible to watch this show and not appreciate the incredibly fast-paced, complex layering that goes into live broadcast production. Forget your own industry acronyms. This team has full knowledge of operational shorthand that's contained in orders barked out with expectation of full and immediate attention, and it feels like they have fun doing it.
We just want you to confirm or deny.
We're not gonna make it.
Isaac?
We don't want to use your name. Can we just say confirmed is what I'm
Chris,
asking?
give me a preview of 66 and 70.
You need 68.
Stand by 60. You want 68?
Just 66 and 70.
And 68.
Isaac?
68's
I
coming.
don't need 68.
You need 68.
No, I don't.
Chris, show her 68.
Chris, preview 66 and 70. Isaac, please stay quiet.
Please stay
We
quiet.
blew off 68 in the 10 o'clock rundown. Now, please stay quiet.
Go 60.
Isaac?
May I ask why?
Not right now, you can't. Right now, you can fire me or stay quiet.
You're very good.
So, with Dana in the role of mentor and mentee, we relate to her as she grows in these areas, leading people, handling technical issues of production, staying abreast of the increasing amount of sports information that gathers every single day, maintaining high standards around time management and daily deadlines, maintaining a budget, and navigating office and network politics, which is a tremendous challenge for new leaders and managers. With all this on Dana's shoulders, it's in Isaac's best interest to stay close to her, guide her development, serve as a resource. Actually, there was a moment when Isaac's intentions about Dana's growth came into the conversation. It's in episode 12, a few months before Guillaume's real-life stroke. Isaac tells Dana he wants to start grooming her. He's worried that he might be swept up in budget cuts and encourages her to start attending monthly luncheons and budget meetings. Similarly, Natalie's growth is best tended by Dana, even if that means melding her mentor role into close friendship. That's a reality, though, in 12-hour workdays, and Natalie doesn't have much of a life beyond work. More importantly, Natalie is next in command and needs to be ready to assume that role on short notice. Here are a few examples of how these mentoring moments played out. When someone from the crew is called into Isaac's office, Dana is usually there either by instinct or invitation. She keeps herself at the center of things, and Isaac facilitates that. In episode 5, we see them wrestle with a moral question of doing the right thing versus doing what's best for the show. Dana lands a big interview with a pro football player who has been convicted of sexual assault. She sends Natalie out to conduct a pre-interview in the stadium locker room the day before he's scheduled to be on the show. The football player exposes himself and physically gets rough with Natalie. And from there, there's an ongoing drama about filing charges, not filing charges, leveraging the act of not filing charges as a way to improve the boundaries of the interview, all in the name of achieving better ratings. Dana wrestles with the options, later admitting,
I sent her there instead of Jeremy because I knew how Patrick felt about women in the locker room, and I thought I could provoke a better response to the questions. Sent her there on purpose.
I know.
Does Natalie know?
Of course she knows. She learned from you. It was the right thing to do.
Natalie is upset that decisions are being made without her input, and she perceives herself as being just a pawn. Initially, Dana throws Natalie under the bus, but in the 11th hour changes course and supports Natalie in her belief that for all the women in sports broadcasting, she should file charges against the football player.
We did a big thing badly.
Honey,
Can I try and fix it?
go.
Excuse me, everybody. Can I have your attention, please? This interview's off.
Yeah! What? Right.
I want to thank you for coming down, but we're going to do a show now, and I need you to clear the studio.
Let's go, move it.
You can't do this, Isaac.
It's done.
You're all going to be the laughingstock of broadcast news.
We're pretty much used to that by now.
Yes, this is a comedy. There are a number of story arcs in which trust is a big factor. They include a love square, that's right, 1 point bigger than a love triangle, featuring Dana, a sports night anchor and old friend Casey McCall, Dana's boyfriend Gordon, and the producer of the West Coast Update, Sally Sasser. Dana and Sally, to say the least, are competitors.
I don't know how to keep Gordon. I don't know what to say to him.
What do you want to say to him?
Don't break up with me.
That's not going to work.
I won't.
No? What else you got?
Nothing.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not.
You got the truth.
I don't have the truth.
You'd be amazed at how attractive the truth can be sometimes.
Not for a woman.
You're wrong.
Trust, truth-telling, squaring up with the truth. There's a lot of ethical consideration into maintaining integrity in this workplace. On numerous occasions, information that Isaac shares with Dana is immediately revealed to Natalie once Dana steps into the hallway. Is this a judgment call about why maintaining secrecy is or isn't important? Is Dana at a more competitive point in her career and safe enough in her own role that the information holds a value that needs to be acted upon? Natalie, we learn, is an inexperienced leak, and her judgment never improves. And Dana never really punishes her or admonishes her for her shortcomings. Natalie and Dana share many personal details and prop each other up through numerous love spats and moments of anger or confusion. However, Natalie is much more forthcoming and transparent. She'll share and doesn't question whether it's professional or not. Some would say she overshares. We can imagine that Dana's first jobs were in environments with older staff members who would have labeled her unprofessional had she performed that way. On occasion, Natalie shines brilliantly, running the show in Dana's absence. The episode Small Town was nominated for a host of awards. The plot is this. On the eve of the Major League Baseball trading deadline, and the newsroom filled with interest about last-minute moves, Natalie uses street smarts and brings out the best in the team in gaining an exclusive about a 7-player trade. She does so while running the control room and getting the trade news officially confirmed. Dana sees it on TV and beams with pride. Dana's focus on what's good for the show is revealed in her getting more savvy in her relationships with the network. With Isaac on leave, the network wants her to delegate some of her responsibilities to Sally Sasser, not Natalie. Dana initially resists, but decides that's not a fight to wage. Even as a mentor, she recognized that there may be times when not promoting her protege is in the best interest of the network. In season 2, when Natalie pressures Jeremy to fire a writer's assistant who is only employed because he's related to someone high up in the network, Jeremy resists. He asserts it's not worth making things worse with the network. Natalie stresses that the assistant's poor performance reflects poorly on the crew and show. She goes on to proclaim that the decisions she makes are out of loyalty to Isaac, loyalty to Dana, and loyalty to the show. Episode 23 represents one of the most stressful days in Dana's career. Her personal life is in a shambles. To distract herself, Dana has decided to buy an expensive, sophisticated camera equipment package and learn photography. She's embarrassed when she can't get the components and timers synced to take a staff photo. 'Cause, as it turns out, the film was in upside down. Yep, that's 1998 for you. Moments later, when she yells in frustration that she just wants something to go right, Isaac walks into the office for the first time since his stroke. It's one of Sports Night's most emotional moments, in real life as well as on screen. Advanced TV herstory seeks out any good performance. When a woman character vents about personal or professional life frustrations, or perhaps more importantly, from a role modeling perspective, speak passionately about how much they really love their jobs.
The truth is, I have a job that involves me and stimulates me and rewards me and takes up a lot of my time, and I'm not willing to do my job just a little bit. I want to do all of it. It's part of me, and I am different without it, and that is who I am, and that is who you need to love. Except it won't work.
Yes, it will.
It won't.
Say it just like that.
It won't.
Dana, any man who hears that and doesn't say, for a woman like you, for a person for you, I will take whatever time you can give me and be grateful for that all my life. Any man who hears that and doesn't throw you down in the nearest flat surface is just taking up space for the rest of us.
ABC dropped Sports Night after 2 seasons. In the final episode, viewers are led to believe the fictional show will go on in the hands of new network ownership. For all the mentoring and succession planning, the show ends only with a plan for tomorrow, not the long term. We don't know when Isaac retires from full-time work. Dana is in the prime of her career and seems thrilled that the new owner is as competitive as she is and finds her to be highly competent. And Natalie? How long would she serve as Dana's right hand? This crew was on the wave of great change, some coming from the industry ripe for disruption from technology and realities caused by mergers and acquisitions. In the fall of 2001, the world changed, as we know, and the dot-com bubble brought a new landscape. Investors were very business savvy and required better business plans from every new venture. In 2015, we can look at this time capsule show and appreciate how far we've come in recent herstory. Dana would be 50, Natalie 45. They should be leading more good teams. Wouldn't it be great to see the fruits of these memorable mentoring relationships borne out in a whole new show, or maybe 2 shows? A show that proves hard work, intelligence, and integrity still mean something? A show that plugs another generation into the front line of producing today's daily TV show, emboldens Dana and Natalie to leverage their best for the good of the show. I'm your host, Cynthia Bemis Abrams, and this has been Advanced TV Herstory. That soft music you hear in the background comes from freemusicarchive.org and is the product of 2 talented groups, Alistair Thompson performing Northern Song and Frozen House's Listen. Thanks for listening.